Yep.
No, you're here. Sit.
Are we ready?
There's another one. No, the camera's up to our side. It's going to get our profile. My full face.
Ready on the left?
We are.
Ready on the right? Ready on the far and left? Target's up. Camera going?
Camera's on.
All right. All right, folks.
Okay.
Will the Operations Committee please come to order? We do have a quorum. What
You want me to close the door?
Yeah, fine. And as always, you won't all be included in the video. You're kind of out of range back there, but we are recording the meeting. Okay? For the record, we do have a quorum of the Operations Committee. All right. I'm not sure we even have any minutes. I don't think we have any minutes.
Yeah, I do.
You have minutes?
I got minutes.
All right.
What do you want, April or May? Or both?
The last meeting.
Would have been May.
Insurance. Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Well, what I can do is, we have to accept the minutes. Let me just take a quick look.
The lack of an admin is tricky. So some of these things are falling through cracks. Normally we would have microphones, but that's risky business. Passing microphones around. So I will try to follow my own advice and speak up.
Okay, well, if nobody objects, I'd be happy to step up and do that.
Do what?
To print the agenda and the minutes. Bob just has to get them to me, and then I'll make sure the packet is together for the next meeting.
Normally we leave to you the agenda because you know more about what's going on in here than I do.
Right,
Sometimes we'll add something,
okay,
right?
yes.
Normally we would do the minutes.
Well, you do the minutes, I do the agenda, but I'll put them together.
Okay.
Since you don't have a secretary yet, and Bob made the point that he's not that type of secretary.
Yeah.
I'll take it over, I just need to get, and I apologize, because Donald and I had a conversation early this morning, and he said he was going to print everything and send it over, so I can take it over, I have no issue.
All
A
right.
brief
Don.
question about conditions. Since we're safe distancing, do we have to mask as well?
I don't know.
Because we're gonna have to throw our voices
I think
and
that
spit all over our clothes.
as long as we're not walking around, so if you're going to get up to go to the bathroom, I would ask that you put your mask back on, but I agree, they're very uncomfortable, and
And it's
it fogs up my
like,
glasses.
And I'll tell you, not only that, the muffling effect. I tried to listen to the Finance Committee video. Forget it.
It's very difficult.
You really, I couldn't understand most of the speech on the video because you only got one camera here. So we'd be better off if we're going to speak and be understood.
as much as we rely on sound, facial expressions give you
Yeah.
half of what you
It's true.
hear.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
we're at a deficit. I saw that.
Both
All right.
voice and facial.
So let me say we're going to include the minutes for the record. I'm sorry you don't all have copies. All right?
I can scan it and send it out after the meeting. Is that okay with everybody? What? I'm waiting for extra copies to come in. Did everyone get the agenda?
Yes,
It's hard to approve.
I just read through it, it's one
I'm gonna
page,
get
it's
it
all
down.
about insurance pretty much, so.
It's hard to approve. Can't expect you to vote to approve minutes you haven't seen.
It was-
So
You want me to read it?
we will. Okay, fine. It says reading of the minutes. Go ahead.
Meeting called to order at 10 o'clock by President David Israel. Meeting turned over to Monica Wells. Camera is turned off for a closed
Speak up a
session.
little, Bob.
Camera is turned off for a closed session. Confidential insurance presentations. Connor and Brandon Lynch of Plastridge Insurance make a 37-minute presentation. Michael Vega and Maria Molina of Brown & Brown Insurance make a 41-minute presentation. Ty Beba, Phil Massey, and Fred Sebastian on video conference of Assurance Partners Insurance make it a 39-minute presentation. Discussion followed the conclusion of the 3 presentations. Among the topics were comparisons, risk management, risk transfer, contractor risk, and certificates of insurance. There are major cost savings if all 3 Century Village communities agree on insurance. Monica, which was a correction, I put Marcia. Monica Wells stated the Boca community wants bids. Motion made by Barbara Cornish to accept Assured Partners Insurance as the agents of record. Patricia Caputo seconds the motion. Vote is 15 in favor, 1 against, 0 abstain. Motion passes. Speech made by Abby Koffler, see attached, which I don't have it here. Theater will be limited to a distance seating of 224 to 248. Dan Cruz from the clubhouse is putting up plexiglass for ID, ticket, and accounts receivable. Clubhouse staff has been catching up on maintenance issues and deep cleaning. UV lights are being installed in AC calls. UV lights kills bacteria and viruses. Dan has proposed to do a stage 4 in party room. AC, and I put AC in question mark because I didn't know what stage 4 was at the time. David Israel suggests that it should be in next year's budget. Tony Salamanto moves to adjourn. Multiple seconds in the motion. Meeting is adjourned at 1:37. Respectfully submitted me. All right, now this was a combined operations and insurance meeting. That's why it ended that way. Any questions?
Are there any questions on this? To the extent you could hear it?
Good job. Good job.
All right, so we will need a motion to accept
Motion
the
to
minutes.
accept the minutes as presented.
And I'll be glad to second it. And unless there's further discussion, the minutes will be accepted for record. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Okay. And moving right on to the queen of numbers.
Good morning, everybody. This morning, the first thing we're looking at is your statement of operations, and this is for the 6 months ended April 30th. For the month of April, total revenue $365,000. The expenses for the month $302,000, so we have a profit for the month of $63,000. Year to date, the revenue is $2,487,000. That's actually $116,000 under budget, but you will see that's primarily the result of not having recognized any reserve money, because the reserve money was budgeted to cover the replacement of the roof at Hastings, and in April we had not yet started that process. In fact, we still haven't started the roof yet, so I'm not taking any money from the reserve to cover the roof at Hastings. Once we start work on that process, then we'll be recognizing the reserve revenue to cover the cost of the roof. Yes, Barbara?
Is there a reason are we waiting for a permit or something?
Yes,
I just
ma'am.
wanted to clarify it. Thanks.
Yes. Yes, I think the contract was signed, 3 months ago? Yeah, so hopefully we'll be
We should be
getting
getting
permit
something.
soon.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's so far, maybe.
Exactly.
Okay, any other questions right now? All right, total expenses for the 6 months, 2.5 million. So we have a loss for the 6 months of 61,000. For the same period, we had budgeted a loss of 166,000. So it is a positive variance of 104,000. If you look down to the far right-hand column under the variance, you'll see the largest variance is repairs and maintenance, where we're under budget 101,000. That's primarily, we're under budget regular repairs and maintenance, $157,000, but that's significantly offset by the fact that the tennis courts ran over into this year from the prior year budget to the tune of about 100,000. You'll see that just about every line on here is under budget for the 6 months. Any other questions there? Yes, sir.
Just one comment about repairs and maintenance. In March, there were 17 pandemic AC cleanings. In May, there were 371, and that is expensive. That's why I think that we came in under. That will continue.
Well, I will have Dan address that.
Okay, this
Yeah.
It's absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Again, I started it off because depending on if we were gonna open up, okay, I wanted to make sure that we had everything clean. But we do have a cleaning cycle that we do once a year. Because of this, of course, I had to increase that cleaning and changing of the filtration system, depending on how we open it up. Since we're not been opened up, I've only allowed to put the UVs in certain areas, okay, where in this particular room, some of the offices, okay, where the residents were coming through. So until we get some idea of what the cost will be for the rest of the units, okay, we could bring it up in the next budget year. But for right now, we've done this to help out with the coronavirus. We've also opened up outside air. That's why it even feels very humid in some of these areas. But I have 100% outside air coming in, and I'm cutting it back a little bit depending on the size of the room, okay? I've already talked with Tim Fagan on this, on what the coronavirus thing is. You open it up a little bit more outside air, but if we're having problems with humidity, we have to control it depending on the building, which we have a lot of wood in here, so we could have problems with humidity. But it also helps us with the UVs, is that we were spending $400 a unit to clean the coils. By my inspection that I just did, we've had them over for a month and a half, it's getting cleaner inside there. We don't have the buildup and also the gook that you see inside there. I don't see that anymore on these particular units, okay? We did put a certain size per the size of the unit, a 10-ton, a 5-ton. You would see 2 lights on the bigger units, 1 light on the smaller units. They were sized up per the UVs, per the
Tonnage.
Well, today I'm having a problem with it, per the manufacturers, okay? But it will help us in the long run, because I was doing that once a year at $400 a coil, okay? So that's the savings and the payback in the long term for the UVs also, okay? But thank you for bringing that up.
I've had to bring it up many times in Hastings and on my bicycle. People ask, why do I have to pay recreation fees if I can't go? And I say, operations and maintenance does not stop.
That's right.
This situation is not like the hurricanes which destroyed the buildings. If anything, your work orders have increased. They've got the reports that Asia has sent me, the work order, the hours put in, job assignments have more than doubled.
I appreciate that you actually looking at that, because that really tells the maintenance side of what's going on, and we have increased that, not only the cleanliness that we've had the contractors, janitorial contractors, and after we leave out of here, we're always cleaning a lot more than what we've done in the past. You know, to try to keep it safe for everyone.
All right. This issue, of course, has come up repeatedly. You have any thoughts on this you want to share with us?
That's on the agenda.
It's coming
Yeah.
up.
It's, yeah.
All right.
That's
Fair
fine.
enough.
Yeah, I'm gonna update you on that, right.
Okay.
Okay. The next report is our cash balances. As of April 30th, your total operating funds was $773,000. Your total windstorm deductible reserves, $825,000. And your contingency and infrastructure improvement reserves, $1,860,000. For total reserve funds of $2,685,000 total available cash, $3,459,000. Any questions? Okay. The next report is your Estopel income report, and this is through May. So November through May, there were 346 units sold in Century Village in West Palm, and we collected $51,900. For the same period in the prior year, there were 353 units sold, so it's only a decrease of 9 units, or $1,050. I did happen to notice in May of last year, there were 83 units sold in May, so this is a big drop just for the month of May, but one would expect that given what's been going on. Any other questions? Okay. Your next report is not really much of an update. This is revenue collected from guests. During the month of April, there were no revenue collected from guests, and during the month of May, $125. So, for the 7 months, ended May 31st, we collected $33,130 from guests. Okay, the next thing I wanted to bring you up to date on is the PPP loan. You've all heard that in the news. The
Payroll protection.
payroll protection plan, yes, which was an extension of the Small Business Association. And I can tell you it's been literally a nightmare. You've heard it a lot of negative publicity, but nevertheless, in the first round of the PPP money that was available, I made an application under the name of Central Recreation for all 3 Century Villages. I had to amend it twice, and things kept changing from week to week. I was not successful in getting a loan in the first round of money, but then when Congress approved the second round of money, I applied again and finally was successful in getting a loan. So what that means to this community is I'm estimating that between the time we got the loan and when we used up the money that we have, that is going to cover in this community approximately $220,000 of payroll. This is going to be free money, assuming I'm successful in getting forgiveness of the loan, and there's no reason why I shouldn't be successful in getting forgiveness, because we had initially furloughed 36 employees between the 3 communities, and we have brought all of those employees back to work with the exception of a few of them who chose to continue to collect unemployment because they were making more money drawing unemployment than we would be paying them if they came back to work.
Only in America.
Exactly. But the forgiveness plan says if you have documentation that you offered to bring an employee off furlough and they chose not to return to work, you can exclude them from the calculation of the forgiveness. So we shouldn't have a problem having the loan forgiven. I won't know that definitively till next year sometime. I will be making the application for the forgiveness probably the end of July or first part of August. And the bank, which is Bank of America that I submitted the application through, has 2 months to review the request. Then they forward it to the Small Business Association, and they have another 3 or 4 months to give their final approval. So I'm anticipating it won't be till probably the first of next year till we have a definitive answer.
Doesn't the law, I thought the law simply said as long as the money is exclusively used for payroll.
It must be used for payroll, for rent,
Ah,
for utilities, or
okay.
mortgage interest.
Okay.
We're using it for payroll. Yeah, if you start using it for other things, they will deny forgiveness under the loan.
Gotta keep tight records.
Right, absolutely, and you have to submit, all types of payroll reports, and
Alright.
it's a lot of paperwork that you have to submit for their review. So in addition to the money from the PPP loan, we are obviously under budget a number of other things. I was looking at your financials through May. Just yesterday, we closed the books for May. Some of the other things year-to-date through May that we are under budget, electricity, obviously. We're under budget $32,000 through May. Our net social activities between the loss of the income and the reduction in the expenses for the theater, the dances and the movies, karaoke, some of these other things, that is a savings of $28,000 through May. Security, another line item that we're under budget, $11,500 through May. So when you add all these things up, and I only expect some of this to continue to grow, because obviously the clubhouse is still closed for all intents and purposes, to the unit owners, so we'll continue to have savings, I would expect, in electricity and some other things. So we're right at around $300,000 in savings that would be able to carry that forward at the end of the year into the coupon calculation for next year to reduce the monthly recreation fee for the residents.
So you're gonna count that as a surplus you
Yes,
were
sir.
talking about. Great. Okay.
Yes, Barbara?
I know you said with the payroll, with the PP, and all, did any of the other, villages put in any kind of for a loan for rent?
No.
Okay, just asking.
No, the only application was the original, the PPP application through Small Business Association.
I didn't know if
That's
any
it.
of the other people that run the others put in for renting.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, the last thing I have on the agenda is if we could possibly set a date for the presentation by Assured Partners for the insurance program. The new package policy takes effect August 1. They are working very diligently. In fact, last week, Ty Beba and Fred Sebastian, their loss control and risk fellow, was here, and they spent 2 full days touring all 3 Century Villages, and it is brutal hot out there walking around with these masks on. I gotta tell you, it was a tough 2 days, but they were very thorough. It was a great visit, and we learned a lot. They learned a lot. They were more thorough than I would have ever expected. I can also share with you that after I left last month and went to Boca, and the 3 agencies did their presentation to the Boca committee, even though Boca had pushed me to allow Plastridge to make a presentation. Both of them made the same decision that this committee did. They chose to only approve Assured Partners to bid the insurance for this upcoming policy year. So they are working very hard, and they would like to, we don't know if we will, we're gonna plan to do it in person, like we did last month, but if something were to happen, God forbid, you know, things, we were to go backwards, with the rise in the, infection rate in South Florida, it's not hopeful, or not, in fact, it's horrible right now, so we don't know where we'll be at the end of, July, but the plan right now would be to have, Ty and Phil come make the presentation to go over the numbers, you know, full presentation. It'll just be the one agency, so it won't be the whole morning. I see on your, calendar that you had out here that Tuesday, July 21st at 10 a.m., you have an insurance meeting. Would it be possible for us to piggyback and have an operations committee meeting for, shouldn't take more than
Insurance
an
only?
hour?
Insurance only?
Yeah.
That's all we would be talking about is
That's,
insurance.
that's normal schedule.
Yeah.
It's a
Barbara?
normally scheduled.
Barbara?
On that date, is Tony bringing in any companies?
I don't know.
Because she might be bringing one and then another.
Tony is gonna have at least 4
Yeah, she might have
presenters.
two and then two.
Oh, on that day.
I don't know. What I would say is check with her.
Maybe
Check with her, okay.
Maybe over 2 days.
All right, I'll check with Tony and I'll
Right.
email everybody. If we can't do it on that day, if she's got too much planned, perhaps we could have it on Wednesday, the 22nd, or Thursday, the 23rd, perhaps.
You see any conflict, Bob? Yeah, just talked to Tony this morning. She had planned to do 2 presentations a day for 2 days.
Then I'm assuming that she's gonna be doing Tuesday and Wednesday. That would give them Thursday.
If I'm not mistaken, the finance committee is scheduled for the 22nd of July.
Well, you- Yeah, so we gotta just deconflict this.
Basically, what you could do is change the schedule on your operations meeting from Tuesday and make it the Thursday before. If that's what you want to do.
Well, we would have had the insurance on the 28th, but unfortunately that's too late because the policies renew August 1st, so that's really pushing it. So that's the reason we want to try to meet the prior week if at all possible.
Barbara?
Can you have the operations and the insurance on the same day?
Sure.
So why don't you do it on the 24th? 23rd?
Do it follow.
That's fine by me.
It's open, right, Bob?
You know what I just said?
Yeah, you just said that,
Yeah,
right?
sounds good.
All right, that worked for everybody. We'll have operations and insurance on Thursday, the 23rd at 10 a.m. Okay.
Both committees simultaneously, we'll be able to fit them. I mean, I'm just thinking about how many people
Well,
will be
you-
here.
we should cut the agenda
We still need all
It's
the,
gonna be too
to
bare
ha-
bones, okay.
yeah, obviously.
Leave it light.
How many people are on the insurance committee?
Oh, cool.
Not many. Yeah.
I just don't have it.
Some are overlapped. Like I'm
Yeah.
overlapped with
Yeah.
ops and insurance.
We got enough.
Insurance committee.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4 people other than, not including,
Right.
So, yeah.
And no problem.
Easy and 4 more people.
no, 5.
It'll be okay.
Okay. All right. So that's it. July 23rd at 10 a.m. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Monica? Okay, updates. Yes?
All right, tennis, pickleball fencing, I'm turning over to Dan.
As you know, we had a situation at Somerset where we lost the fencing at the Somerset, and also just the fencing over at the pickleball courts. First evaluation, we thought it was wind. I want to actually thank Don for going out there and giving me a good evaluation of what happened out there. And I then went out there to take a look at this with a shovel and all, and basically went down to take a look at the cement and saw that the contractor did not follow the specifications that were required from the building department. So with that said, I contacted them and met with them immediately. And at this point right now, we worked it out where they did the repairs over at the pickleball courts. Everything's taken care of at this point. There was only fencing that was knocked down in there. But the Somerset pool, Somerset tennis courts, we're going to have to meet up there next week. And instead of poles that are already up, I'm going to have them dig out poles and check each and every one. And if we find them that are still more than 2 or 3, I told him that I'm going to redo the whole thing. So he went back to his boss. So far, they're in agreement. The subcontractor that did the fencing, of course, that they contract out is going to be responsible for this. So they're working it all out. I should have more answers sometime before the end of the week here. I'm pushing it so that I can get this thing up and going as soon as possible. I will meet up with Don to go over the specifications also that we had. Everything that he outlined was pretty much to the point. We had it in the specifications. What happens at the tennis courts, unfortunately, with fencing, it's only a visual inspection. They're supposed to go by the drawings, okay? But I can assure you that the main thing that we were concentrating on was the densities and everything of the sinkholes and everything else that we have, all those reports of the asphalt. That is 100%. We know because I went out there myself and the engineer on that particular point because we knew that that was the biggest issue we had. They were thinking that the fencing would be such a not following, digging down 3 feet, pouring concrete, putting the poles 2 feet into the ground. Okay. So like I said, I appreciate again, Don. He did an excellent report. I know if you saw that, it was very detailed, and that made me prompt to go forward and looking in it a little bit further. So we are moving forward with this. I hope that I can get an answer to you by the end of the week. Yes.
I have a question. Did the subcontractor have to pull a permit to put that fence up?
Yes.
So that means that the person from the county that came and inspected it didn't do his job.
They don't do it like I was telling Tom. When the fencing comes, okay, it's basically they dig, they pour, and they come afterwards. Okay, they look at the drawing. It's the workmanship of the contractor that has to be done. Okay, so we had an engineer too. They basically look at the only part that I had the engineer come is doing the density reports on the asphalt side. Okay, we did 2 inspections of the poles, and that's the big poles that stayed up. Okay, but the little ones we didn't. We're verifying everything now from the report. Okay, to make sure that we get what we paid for. Okay. And
I'd like to suggest that Dominic's analysis be made part of the minutes.
yes.
Thank you, Dominic.
We
Thank you.
did file an insurance claim for the damage, that occurred as a result of that freak Sunday afternoon storm we had that blew the fencing down. And unfortunately, we have a $25,000 deductible because it's an all other wind deductible. So we're going to be getting from the insurance company around $18,000.
Do we not have, in light of what Dominic has presented and your inspection, do we not have a good case that the contractor should eat this?
Yeah, that's right.
Now, that's what my job is to do. I already assure you that the cost of the repairs that were done at the pickleball course is no cost to us. It's already been taken care of.
Do we
The
need,
cost
do
to
we,
like I said, it's a leg in the face, but I'm going to make sure our due diligence that they follow what they said here. So they do a lot of work on the other communities for us. It seems to me that they're not fighting me on this, they're going after the fence company, okay? So like I said, by the end of the week, this should be taken care of at no cost to us, okay?
That's good.
All right?
Excellent. That's good. Yeah, there's a lot of leverage. I mean, I'm sure we give them a good bit of business.
We have, like I said, they've bid out another $50,000 worth of work in the other two communities, so we could have that to pull this. But so far, I have not had a strain with them so far, and I will have the answers for you by the end of this week. And like I said, I would sit with Don after this meeting to go over.
If the subcontractor is being held responsible, why do we need to file an insurance claim? Was there any other damage other than the fence? So why do we want to put in a claim against our insurance?
Question.
Well,
We had a
then,
couple of them
our
where
yeah, well,
a sailboat got
that's
damaged.
that's under a different policy. It could be that our insurance company will subrogate against the,
But it's still going to count against an insurance claim
when we
against us.
filed the claim with the insurance company, we did not know any of this. We just found this out like in the last week.
I would inform them that somebody else is responsible.
Right,
But once they write the check, it's going to cost us money.
yeah. We don't have the check yet.
Yeah.
They just signed off on the claim, maybe 2 weeks ago, but I've not seen anything. But I will certainly reach out to the adjuster and let her know what we have since learned and see what they say.
Barbara?
Well, that's what I was gonna say, we get to the adjuster, just pull the claim, if he comes up with the right, then with the right answer.
Right,
Because we don't want that mark against our insurance.
right.
Okay.
All right. Any questions on this? Moving right along.
Can I speak about one thing real quick?
Yeah, of
That I
course.
forgot about.
Yeah.
I know this was brought up earlier in the year, and I think I was supposed to bring this up to the committee in March, and we didn't meet in March. Somebody asked the question what the status was with the group called FPR that has been in and out of this community for a number of years. They try to get
FPR
appointed
Force.
as receivership
Right.
for some of the units, and we've always kind of fought with them because they refuse to pay WPRF. And
Right.
just what's today? Friday afternoon, Laura Coffey reported to me that the ongoing case that we have in this community with FPR Force has been ongoing for months and months and months. And I guess they've finally grown weary of us. And at the hearing that was held this past Friday, their attorney is asking for them to be withdrawn from the receivership.
Cool.
In this particular case, apparently they had tacked on like $40-something thousand of fees and cost onto this particular unit that they've been appointed receiver for. And it sounds like the judge is seeing them for what they are and is completely against them and has been giving them a real hard time. So once this case is over and done with, maybe we've heard the last of them for good, I hope,
Till they change their name again.
again.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Move to another county.
That's
Yes.
They
my
changed
next
it in, what,
one.
3 times, 4
They
times?
named FPL, is it FPL? FPR, is Fire, Police, and Rescue.
Yeah,
So they were the sole people that they were gonna take care of because that's affordable housing. And
exactly.
there isn't enough affordable housing in the county, and they're screwing the pooch.
Well, they keep changing their name, but it's all the same
Yep.
bad players. Same attorney, same everything, so,
Yeah.
yeah. So at least that was good news for us from last Friday. Yes,
I
Mike?
believe it was Ed Black that was the one that kept following that kept bringing it to your attention, because we would not authorize guest passes or
Right.
IDs for those individuals, because they didn't have proper leases.
Yeah, well, this last one, it's actually been an ongoing lawsuit that's
Oh, yeah.
been going on for, I don't know, at least 6 months or more.
Our records are full of stuff on them.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
That's
It's
good.
good, no, it's good news.
Yeah, that is good news.
No, it's a good turn, it's a good result. All right. Oh, entertainment. Ta-da!
I think that because everything's changing, evolving, Abby's gonna become a staple at our meetings.
Good.
She's gonna be here every month.
I see we're getting entertainment
Regular.
via internet.
Correct, we sent out 1,262 invitations, we got a 32% click rate, which is huge, shockingly in this community. So we're doing what's called Saturday at Home series. So far, we have been able to secure artists. I mean, we can get any artist to give us a 30-second spot. We need a 45 to 90-minute show. So far we haven't spent any money on doing so. I anticipate at some point we may have to spend a little bit of money to get these artists to do things and maybe bring them into our theater potentially and just do a video shoot. But we're really, really happy with the numbers. We have programming right now through September 5th, I think. We're already programmed through. We've gotten a lot more Facebook likes. You guys aren't too big on Twitter here, which is a good thing because I don't know it that well either. Few Instagrams, mostly Facebook, so we're really excited about that. We had 20 impressions and 3 engagements, and we had a lot of positive comments. As a matter of fact, one thing that I didn't even know that a resident here knew was one of the shows that we had called Naturally 7. She had actually seen in Philadelphia, and they had opened for Michael Bublé. So that was really kind of cool. So we're trying to engage the residents. We try to stay in communication. We try to advertise. Please tell your friends to like us or to subscribe to everything on our website, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is that they do. A lot of communication and email blasts come out. Sometimes we'll even send them for the other departments. So please subscribe to it's written everywhere if you look at an old Clubhouse Happenings. Steve Cohen and Laurent, I literally have at least a 10-page list of things that they've been doing in the theater. So maintenance-wise, they're really moving forward. The new projector's in. We've been testing that. I have a whole article that I wrote if you'd like me to read it. It'll take about 3 minutes. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's very positive, because I remain
Would you
positive.
like to also put it in the paper?
Well, why don't you hear it first and tell me if it's
Okay.
good enough to be published?
Dozo.
The question of when performing arts return to any semblance of what normal used to be. Our response: the theater will open when the state and county officials deem it safe for our residents to return. Perhaps the season may be presented as planned, perhaps canceled, perhaps begin in January 2021, we just don't know. The only thing we are sure of, there is no certainty. We have no idea, and no one else does for that matter. We're ready to roll out performances at any given time. As a matter of fact, we're very eager to light the lights in your beautiful theater. We're moving forward with a multitude of possibilities. We've created several models. Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C is waiting in the wings. We want to be smart as we move forward, as we strongly believe we have just one opportunity to make residents feel safe and comfortable in their theater. We're going to have to be patient. Good things are worth waiting for, aren't they? The success of any organization in these times of trouble is to be flexible and think outside the box. Use things that are not working in our favor and make them work in our favor. We are determined to have some sort of season, and we'll celebrate it when it's safe to return. We will continue to monitor the situation, make decisions about opening based on the many different factors. The economics must always also be considered as well for both resident and artist. Our first commitment, of course, is to the health and safety of our residents, volunteers, artists, and staff. Our Facebook page and our email blasts offer a digital stage with a lineup of concerts, talks, performances to entertain and inspire you. The more we expose you, the more interest people will have and will want to be there live. It's a win-win all the way around. We hope you will join us on our social media sites. We are closely monitoring the pandemic as we look forward to the fall and beyond. I reiterate that health and comfort for all is our top priority. All current and future decisions will be based on the health of the entire community, which is paramount to the success of our programming. As tragic as this is an opportunity for the entertainment industry to evolve. We're not going to close the doors. We will come out of this and not only survive, but we will thrive. We will bring back all the performers you have come to know and enjoy, and as always, comply with our mission statement to provide a well-rounded, diversified program for all to attend. We are continuously brainstorming to think outside the box and get creative. We miss the nightly energy exchange between you and our artists. We miss the sounds of laughter and applause. And I miss it because I don't like being home at night. Because I have to cook. We are a strong community, we are resilient, and we have the opportunity to support one another through the challenges that lies ahead. Century Village will be a gathering place again, and your dedication to the theater will be creating magic moments because the show must go on. I am optimistic and hopeful.
Very nice.
Thank you. The season brochure is at the printer, as I've told you before. It is not being printed. I have spoke with all of the artists that were secured for 2021 season. We are holding dates for 21, 22. We don't know whether they're coming this year. I had, just for one particular example, a performer by the name of Jeremy Stoll, who is in Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. Jeremy takes 3-4 weeks off a year from Broadway and comes out and tours, because obviously the touring money, believe it or not, is better than Broadway. And he wrote to me and he said, Abby, listen, I gotta get a job. I mean, it's really simple. So I have artists canceling on me. I have artists saying even if everything's better, you know, I have to come home and quarantine. So we don't know. With all of that said, Monica and I had discussed the other day, what do I do about the budget? So you had already approved the budget for 2021. We could do the budget as is, and obviously it would roll into the following year if we didn't use it. There are some performers that are gonna wanna perform. Maybe we'll have one show a month, maybe we'll have 10 shows, we just don't know. So I would like very much for you to consider the budget that you had already approved in my March meeting for the next fiscal year. Just because it's there, does not mean we will spend it. We don't know. I just don't know. So, that's where we're at. We did, just for a note of information, we did in Broward County, we got approval to show movies in the theater. We have not started that yet, we will be shortly. That's Broward County, nothing has come out about Palm Beach County, and I don't anticipate it. I think if and when it does, it would behoove us to show movies and to get people accustomed and for people to feel safe. Your theater capacity, if I recall, is somewhere between, I don't recall exactly, but I counted them, between 225 and 250, you know, when we space it out. Obviously dances, we're not gonna be dancing for quite some time. We're doing as much as we can to engage everybody and to keep everybody entertained through the internet. We obviously have limited, we don't have a lot of residents that, we wish we had, let me say this, we wish we had more residents. So your word of mouth to join our Facebook page or any other social media site would really be helpful. You guys are out there, we're not physically out there.
Abby, do you need a motion? Did I hear that?
No,
For the budget, well,
when you do the budget.
when we do the budget.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
won't be meeting to start going over the budget till August.
I have a question. If and when you decide to let people in the theater and we all miss it, how will you determine who comes and who doesn't? If you can only fit 240 people?
Well,
That, I
the
think,
shows
is going
that-
to be a problem.
the shows that we would be doing, depending upon what, if we did the less expensive shows, there wouldn't be as many people that would want to see them. If we did Tony Orlando versus
Right.
Joe Schmo, that's number one. If we do get a name that wants to come in here that we think will be very popular, we will negotiate with them to possibly do 2, possibly 3 shows if we see the popularity. You know, the demand is there.
Right.
So,
Always got control at the ticket counter.
yeah, we will have attempted to think of every scenario, unfortunately, that could go wrong. We're gonna think,
We know.
You
Right
know.
now, it's very dangerous.
The issue is, do you just do first come, first serve, so that the early bird or the people that are
No.
really on it are always the
we're not
ones
even
at the
there
show,
yet,
right?
you know, I think
Or a
it's gonna be
lottery
based
system.
upon the name of the performer.
Right.
There's gonna be a huge effect on the entertainment industry. Last night's news said that Broadway will be closed for the rest of
Right.
2020.
Broadway will be closed for even longer, yeah. Did you see CBS Sunday Morning?
Yeah.
You know, it's in the Berkshires, I believe, where they're taking seats out, they're doing one-man shows. That's great, one-man shows are great because, you know, they have, here's your stage, but they're making the performers stay back here. They're socially distancing them, they're physically taking the seats out of that theater. But here's the thing, a one-man show, so if they want Sarge to fly from Florida, he's got to quarantine for 14 days when he gets there. He has to quarantine for 14 days.
Right.
You know, it's just not realistic at this point.
Exactly.
So we have to just think outside the box. What else can we do? You know, movies, I was able to negotiate for Pembroke, which I'll have the same negotiation for you. Normally, we pay for 5 movies. We have to guarantee 5 showings. We pay $500. I already negotiated with the movie company for 6 showings for $500. So that, you know, if we only felt comfortable having 50 people in hypothetically, and we showed it 6 times, we'd be accommodating 300 people. So we're just trying everything. We're
I know.
thinking of everything
I know.
in advance. Yes.
Abby, getting back to your article, which is excellent, do you know how many words it runs?
No clue.
If,
How would I find that out?
On the computer.
on the computer, it will tell you.
Yeah, you're
Go
Well, would you
back.
like a copy of it? In
Well,
print?
Start
I'm
counting.
gonna need you to send it to me because I'm not gonna retype it.
Okay.
But I do wanna put it in, does it have a title?
When?
Give it,
Yeah.
no, that's okay, that's
I
very
just made it
good,
up.
very
Oh,
good.
that's good.
But if you can hold it to under 1,000 words, I wanna fit it on one page.
So I have to cut it.
And I could even make it a front page.
No, don't do that. I don't like.
Oh,
I don't like to be on the stage at all.
But
Like the back.
people are interested, those are their questions.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
We can have more than one page.
I'll go with you, if you don't want front page, it'll be up front anyway.
So 1,000 or less words.
Yes.
So I'll edit it down.
Send it to the UCO Reporter, WPB@gmail.com. And I can get it into August.
Okay.
Any other questions for Abby?
I have a question. Since you've been thought outside the box, how about making an outdoor theater with a radio station, sending it to an AM station that you could listen the volume through your radio?
We did talk about that, but unfortunately, there's nowhere in Century Village that is really safe to do that.
They have a parking lot.
I understand that, but what we discussed was our concerns about how those that do not have cars. We're not servicing the entire community. Like the Village is doing golf carts. Did you see that up in Orlando?
My concern is that we have a bus service that's handled by a very minimal amount of people. So if they want to go see a movie, they'll go into somebody's car and go watch it at the movies.
We have the physical equipment that we can
I know.
do that. Staging wise, we have to,
Well, I'm always about how do we make it an even playing field for all the residents so that groups don't feel left out? And I would be concerned that people would be wanting to go with other people, then you're in close proximity in a car.
and the
So-
safety issue of them getting out of their car and
Yes.
tripping over the
Yes.
stanchions. There's a lot of safety issues that would be of concern.
Because we'd have to dim the lights in the parking lot at night. So then if they needed to access the clubhouse because they want to go to the bathroom,
But all of that can be very simple. If you want to watch the movie, you go to the right-hand side of the parking lot. Everybody else has to park on the left side of the building.
You're
only
talking
gonna-
shows or movies?
Movies.
I
just to
don't,
go see a
that I
movie.
don't know about. I know about shows that we have the equipment. I don't know about the
They
movies.
have portable screen monitors with a radio signal that you can pick up on an AM radio in your car.
But the In your
And if you-
apartment?
In your car.
In your car.
Right, but-
Okay, and they're available, you can rent those. There are companies that actually rent those.
Yes, I know. You want me to look into,
Basically make it a drive-in.
you want me to look into a drive-in movie theater?
Well, you say you're thinking outside the box. That's outside the box.
Right, I was thinking shows.
Yeah,
I
well,
wasn't thinking movies.
Wow.
I will get you the prices.
Well, it's a thought.
Why not just pump it through the community channel?
That we can't do. I've already looked into the movies. Deerfield, actually Century Village Deerfield
Copyright?
was doing it and they got shut down.
Really?
Yes, because that's considered like public domain.
Wow.
And absolute, that I know 100% they
But we,
can't do.
we got shut down when the Italian Club was giving free movies in this room. And we were using our own DVDs and we were told we couldn't do it by
Correct.
legal. We were doing it totally free.
Yeah,
In fact, Eva gave us some CDs and DVDs where we were using
I have a
our
large
own.
collection, right. We were
Right.
doing it in Deerfield, but there's problems. They want,
Yeah,
they still
right.
want to be paid for
yeah,
that.
we
They
got,
wanna be paid.
they got shut
Right.
down immediately.
Doesn't
really
have to be
tough.
so old, like the copyright
No.
and it's expired.
You can get these things on your TV, you know?
No, but I mean, like a DVD, if it's an old one,
But they should,
1940,
but,
it's
no.
expired.
If
Doesn't
they're, if they're in
matter.
public domain, you
Main.
can.
Oh, is
Yeah,
that
but
it?
you're not
Okay.
even gonna wanna see those, cause you have such.
I don't.
The other thing is you have so much available to you now with Netflix and Hulu and
That's true.
Yeah, the-
Amazon
everything.
Prime and.
Yeah.
Wow. Anything else for Abby? Very interesting. Okay. So you're gonna send,
I'm going to send the UCO reporter the article. I'm going to cut it to 1,000 words. I'm going to get you a price for drive-in movies. And
I think you're in range already. I don't think she's over 1,000.
I think she's way over.
Really?
Sounds like it.
All right,
Get it to $9.99.
you have this on your computer?
yeah, in Word.
And so down in the lower left, it'll tell you how
Right, I
many
know.
words.
I thought you meant like, did I know right off the top of my head? No problem.
All right. Very interesting. New business?
Yes, we was sent a contract about whether or not we want to renew the contract to remain a polling location. So I think that's a
Is
decision for
everyone-
the committee.
Has everyone read it? Okay. Just a question or two. I've never seen this contract before, and I looked in my database back 10 years. They're going to pay us $200, which, you know, thank you.
It's a nominal fee, right?
However, it is a tremendous convenience to our unit owners to be
That's
able to
true.
come up here and
That's
vote.
true. That's true.
Right, and I don't know who signed the original contract, and
I
I
never-
don't know why they're sending it out again, except that they do have language in here about that because of the coronavirus, that poll workers, voters can come and go without a delay of screening of any kind on election day. So I think maybe that's why they sent out new contracts actually to everybody. So,
Is that terribly smart?
that's good.
I mean, I'm not saying every time they go in and out the door, but you would think at least the first time they come into our clubhouse, why would they object to having the temperature taken remotely?
Well, I think that our residents will still have, to enter the clubhouse, even to vote, they're still going to have to wear a mask, depending on where we are. We have an election in August. We have an election, of course, our big presidential election in November. Generally, what I remember is that people just kind of trickle in and out. We don't get long lines. So we can try to set it up differently, and maybe because it's in the party room, we can open up the doors directly across from the party room instead of them coming in and walking further. I mean, there's different things we might want to consider.
Didn't the contract say that after every person that votes, they will sanitize?
Yes,
I just wanted to clarify that.
yes, they're going to sanitize their equipment. We can
Yeah,
also
it
have,
says it.
which we have on back order for months now, the stations where you pull out the wipes. We can
Yeah.
also do the hand sanitizer on the wall so that everybody has that opportunity. They feel better.
Yeah, but it says it'll clean where you vote, so.
Yes.
I just want you to know, it said that in the contract.
So,
Okay. I know I can't go even into my doctor's office. There's somebody down in the lobby
That's fine.
taking your temperature and
That's fine.
filling out a questionnaire. We live in risky times.
Listen, you know, I'm my mother's medical advocate. She had some problems recently, and we're changing doctors. They would not let me go in with her. They
No,
kept
I
me
know.
out of the examiner.
I know, I know.
All right.
Really tough lot.
I hope everyone has had a chance to read this thing. I think it went out to most of the
It
committee.
did, it was last night I sent it out.
Yes, I agree.
I just have one question, probably from ignorance. Is the polling place open to CV residents only?
Yes.
Okay, good,
You have a little voting card,
yeah.
and it gives you precinct number,
Right.
Right.
and those precinct numbers will all be in there.
Now, the only change that came up recently was the Temple decided they didn't want to be a polling location, and this was last year. I don't know who had been assigned to vote there, and whether there were any people from the outside, I have no idea. I'd have to check with the president of the Temple to find out. Otherwise, there might be a small dilution of people from the outside, but 99.9% of its residents only.
My only comment over and above what we've discussed on this contract, you would think that the county would come across with a little more money for all that space. $200 is almost it's postage stamps, it's not even.
Not even
Other
right.
than that, would anyone like to make a motion on this?
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. H.
I move that we accept the county's proposal as emailed to us.
Second,
We have a second. Any further discussion?
Can you repeat that, because I didn't read it all. Repeat your motion.
Repeat your
to
motion.
accept the
Oh,
polling
that
contract.
we accept the proposal as presented by the county and sign the contract, obviously. It's the first time I've seen that contract. I didn't realize that we had a contract with them.
And this may not have come in the mail if again, it wasn't for the coronavirus and this addition to the contract.
I actually laughed when I saw the $200, but the only the only countervailing is the convenience for our people
That's true.
who don't have to
That's
go
true.
out
That's
wherever.
The older
A lot of
people.
them won't even go out of the house.
Right.
They'll vote by mail.
Right. Yeah, that's true too. Okay. Any further discussion on this one?
No.
Want to call it?
Barbara Cornish,
Yes,
Ruth Dries,
Yes,
Richard Hendelman,
Yes,
Maureen DeBriere,
yes,
and I said it right.
you did.
Patricia Capri.
Yes.
David Israel,
Yes.
Ed Grossman,
Yes.
Dominic Garnagia.
yes.
I'm getting so much better. Stuart Richland,
Yes.
Fausto Fabro,
Yes.
Dave Boaz,
Yes.
and a yes from me. Makes it unanimous.
We see it passed,
Thank you, everybody.
and happy voting. I think I'll vote by mail, but, all right. Where are we, guys?
That's it. That finishes it up.
Oh, Q&A. Oh, no, you have something on the theater budget.
I put it into when we
Right.
discussed for the,
Yeah. Barbara.
I have something on the Q&A. I had talked to Eva over by Kent. There is a bench, a picnic bench, and a lot of people go over there. Kent is used by mostly Seacrest and all kinds of contractors go and use that pool, which I don't care if they use the bathroom or not, okay? But there is a bench there that I was told is used for them to have lunch. But there is a guy that goes there, he does not live in the village. He has his backpack, security knows this has been going on for months. And he somebody calls him in, he goes there with his chair, he sits there with his phone. When they call him, he can go to his house. Now, I just had air conditioning done. When my guys were doing the air conditioning, they had lunch. I offered them to sit in my dining room. They said no because they're closed. they sat outside on the catwalk. This is not a place that we should have somebody sitting doing business. So I went over there, and I'll give this just to show you. Here's a picture of the guy, just so you can all see. I'm sure you all know about it.
Barbara, who's calling him in?
I don't know who's calling him.
Who is
I have
it?
no idea.
I don't know who this is. Is he on a bicycle?
Yes, he's on a bicycle.
If we know who's calling them in, we
I
can.
don't know who's calling him in. I will leave it to you. I took a picture. Here's another picture of him sitting there with his feet up. But the
Jeez.
picture that disturbed me
Let me
is
see.
I zoomed in
I
as
wanna
best
see his
I could.
face.
They have the pictures. I zoomed in as best I could. Maybe somebody can see. It doesn't look like a soda bottle by that tree. Looks like beer bottles. So I'm just giving him to Eva. She can do what she wants. I don't think we should have that table there. We're not supposed to supply a lunch place for people, period.
I
So
will,
I think it's bad.
I'm gonna surprise you.
Okay.
He has friends in the village. He has
I
a
know.
wife, ex-wife, and a daughter in the village. But one of the friends actually has allowed him to stay in her apartment.
Fine.
So he now has an ID, he's been approved by the building, and he actually carries a residence ID.
But,
Or, an-
But if you take that bench away.
No, I'm just saying, he does, okay, so, let me just, so he does have an ID, he's legitimate. They're not calling him into the village, he's actually living in an apartment.
He's
and
an
we have a-
occupant?
Yes. Okay, so, having said that, when I first got here, which is now 9 years, almost 9 years, I noticed that we had a lot of landscape employees that were eating on our pool decks.
They don't belong.
They don't belong there, absolutely not. So my solution was to put a bench under there, and I brought it to the committee, and at the time, the committee approved it at the time, in good faith and friendliness to these companies that are in and out and the workers. So I'll do whatever it is that you want me to do with this. I just wanted to let you know what the history was on this, that it did come before the committee, but that would have been when I was, that was almost 9 years ago now. So, that's the history.
Barbara,
I want to make a motion to remove that bench from our property, because let me tell you, even Seacrest down by me in Chatham, they have a whole area at the end of there where they sit, they have their lunch, you know. I don't mind people having, but I don't think they should have a picnic table. First of all, he was there with 3 other people when it wasn't good for people to even gather. They had no masks on. And then if you look at those bottles by the tree, I'm not saying it's from him, doesn't look like soda bottles.
No.
I would
Look
make
like
a motion
alcohol.
to remove that bench.
I second the motion.
Thank you, Ruth.
a second. I would just make a comment. These people have to be watched. Now, it just happens to be in the pool house at Greenbrier Circle. There's a room in the back at the end of the building. And I discovered years ago that Seacrest employees were going in there, I mean, 8, 10 at a time, having lunch. And I kind of put up with it for a while until we started seeing beer cans out in front of the door. Then we stopped it. All right? We stopped it. I didn't know anything about this.
I could tell you,
I don't remember this coming up. Of course, 9 years ago is a long time.
I don't remember the voting on it either.
I could tell you.
I have a question. Is the bench on WPRF property or
Yes,
is
it
it?
is.
It is.
Yes.
Okay, so really it's no vote. We're making a suggestion that WPRF remove that bench.
No, we're telling them to remove it, we have to vote
We
for
can
it.
suggest,
Well, Barbara wants a vote on it.
Where's this bench at?
I can appreciate that. Ed,
Kent Pool,
Ken Pool.
Kent
I
Pool
was
to the
gonna
left
say-
of the building under a tree.
I was going to say, Wellington Pool, it's become a regular lunch place for all the Seacrest employees. They're there, they use our bathrooms, and we discussed it, we said, they're not doing anything negative, they need it clean. So we let it go because I have some empathy for laborers.
And sitting on the grass and eating is not the best for anybody.
Well, I'm gonna say that those bottles were left by residents. Listen, I don't find any garbage out there. We're not cleaning garbage, so they're at least good about cleaning it up. But, listen, again, committee decision, whatever you want me to do with it, you tell me and I'll do it.
Bob?
Now, when I was doing, the sign on the pool,
Yes,
there was a certain group of people and they were residents, that sat there
Yeah.
and they were,
Yeah,
drinking
right.
and doing whatever.
well, I alerted security and that they should break them up, and so that was it. We broke them up. Yeah. But those were all residents.
Yeah.
Barbara?
That picture was taken this week, I'm just letting you know when I took it.
Okay. Dr. H?
Perhaps before we remove the bench with a sign like clean up or this bench will be taken
I don't think that's the issue.
and give them a chance.
Who's to say that they will bring their own chairs to sit on?
They do.
Well, they do, I know, because
I think
see
he
what goes on
is,
over there.
right. I think he did bring his own chair, and then he uses the bench to put his feet up on it.
And his radio.
And his radio.
Will the result of this action just drive them to Picnic Island where they'll be
No.
gathered?
Currently, that's not open, although parks
Oh,
are
okay.
open with the increase, I would bring it to you to say, do you want me to open it or not? I don't think you'd say yes, because, the rates of infection are so high. So that's a conversation for another meeting.
Ed?
In conjunction with the last comment, and I'm not against it, Barbara, but perhaps since it's such a regular thing, why doesn't we have security go by you? You say someone's coming in, okay? That means he really doesn't have a pass.
No, actually, he does. He has an I'm going to tell you what the history is on this man. He used to be a WPRF maintenance employee over 30 years ago, okay? He is a handyman. Many people in the village have used him.
Unlicensed.
Well, a lot of them are, but anyway. But the point is that he's well known by many. He's respectful. He's quiet for the most part. And
Dare we utter his name?
I didn't want to, but the initials are R.E., so I think anybody would know who that is, So,
Okay.
he does have, and his ex-wife lives here, the daughter lives with the mother, so, and he's got a network of friends. So if he didn't have an ID, yes, they are calling him in. They would be calling him in, but you know what? People are letting him stay. They let him bunk. This man should be filthy, dirty. You probably shouldn't be able to get within 10 feet of him because he's going to smell. But he doesn't. He's
Okay.
clean because people are letting him stay.
Is there any further
Bumps
discussion
and rotates.
on this one? So the motion is to remove the bench.
Right. The motion is to remove the bench. I'll put
think-
it back on Picnic Island.
I got you. I think you'll find he's sly enough to find another. Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying. Okay,
Barbara Cornish,
Remove, yes or no, which way does it go?
to remove the bench from
Yes.
Kent Pool.
yes.
Ruth Dries,
Yes.
Richard Handelman,
Yes,
Maureen DeBeguer,
Yes.
Patricia Caputo,
Yes. I hesitated on that.
David Israel,
Yes.
Edward Grossman,
Yes.
Dominic Garnagia,
Yes.
Stuart Richland,
Yes.
Fausto Favreau,
I'm going to abstain from votes.
David Boaz,
No.
and me, I am also going to abstain. All right. 2, 1. It's 9, 1, and 2.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll scan these and I'll send it over to you so you can attach it to your minutes
Okay.
and I'll attach it to mine.
That'll work.
Okay?
All right. You got anything else?
Oh, motion carries, President.
Yeah, motion carried. Anything else you got?
I just would like to make a statement
Yes?
that we've just opened up Pandora's box.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You now could have somebody go to the bocce ball courts and use the bench over there to live a couple of hours a day. Are we gonna remove the bench from the bocce court?
I kind of suggested that he's obviously gonna be slick enough to move to another location.
My,
Um,
my statement was, it was a WPRF on their property. It should have been their decision what to do with it, not ours.
okay.
Just my opinion.
Barbara.
We pay WPRF, and we try to work in partners, so we agree. But the man you just said has a pass, so he could very easily go on the deck of the pool even.
Now he
Underneath-
can.
Now that he has a pass.
I don't know
He
that
can
he-
go wherever he wants, so why would you have that bench there?
I don't know that he feels comfortable. We've chased him for so long. I don't know that he feels comfortable. So he goes, he gets his comfortable
Well, there's
chair,
a
puts
group
his
that
feet up.
gather there. And they
There's,
drink.
there's somebody else that goes over there
I know.
that's a very nasty character. I can at least say Richard has been respectful. He and I know each other, and if I go to him and complain about something, he does it for me. So, but again, I'll remove the bench.
David, did you have a comment?
All you're gonna do is just like you said, he'll move to a bus stop bench or someplace else. He's a resident
Well,
of
honestly,
some sort, he has an
Right.
ID. Why are we penalizing him?
I'm going to say, before Barbara says anything, that once we open up Picnic Island, that's where they're going to hang. And that's really pretty much out of sight of everybody. If it's an eyesore for people or it bothers them to see him there almost every day, then he'll hang out at Picnic Island.
Barbara. Barbara.
I would just say that bench, and I want to thank everybody who voted to get rid of it. If you have a pass, you can go into any pool, you can go any place in this village. He has a pass. But if he has somebody coming who doesn't have a pass, they can't go into the pool right now, can they?
No, no
So
gas.
anybody who doesn't have a pass cannot go by the pool, so that's gonna stop people from going there. Drinking or whatever they do.
Raising a vision that's kind of unsafe. And we don't want to, it's similar to the issue with derelict cars. You don't want this to be a hangout place, or dumping ground for cars. Rather Picnic Island, but you don't want to do things that are gonna concentrate folks together. Because then you're gonna have sick people. All right? All right, anything else?
I just want to bring to somebody that several months ago, we had people from the Camden area, by the Camden pool, coming in and complaining about a woman who was homeless, who was living on a bus stop. Remember that?
Yes.
We sent security because she was terrorizing everybody. She was a unit owner. She had an ID.
Gina?
I don't remember her
She
name.
is the granddaughter of a resident,
Yeah,
but
I
she
just don't need to
she lives in
mention
an
her name.
apartment, nope, and she has a pass.
Yeah.
And the only reason people noticed her was once we closed the pools.
Well, this
She
was
was
way
sitting-
back.
she
I'm going
was-
back to December, January, February. We said Daniel sent a rover out there because we were told that she was a homeless person living on a bench.
It was actually once we closed the pools because she was using the Wi-Fi. She has a iPad that she reads books on, and I guess maybe she prefers the outdoors or she doesn't have the package at her apartment. So yes, she was hanging out on that bench every day, and she looked like she could have been homeless, but she in fact does have an ID, and yeah.
Slippery slope.
That's the thing.
As long as she didn't take her clothes off, I don't think
Maureen?
I haven't gotten that complaint.
Yes, Maureen.
Just a quick question on the pool, Eva,
Yes.
has water aerobics started up again?
Nope.
Back here?
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
oh.
No, it shouldn't.
Oh,
Well, look, we're talking about a specific instructor who brings her husband, and somebody else brought the music. She wasn't her music. And then, she comes and she works out, and she tries to get her husband to work out too. And somehow other people who knew she was there were in the pool, and they were following her movements. So as soon as I heard about that, I didn't even go to my office. I went straight back there and said, no can do. And, but I was told again today she was there this morning. And so I gave security specific instructions. Her husband has full-blown Alzheimer's, so he has to stay by the side and he has to hold on. So as long as she's by his side, facing him, and doing exercises, trying to get him to keep moving, that's fine. But don't be moving out to the middle and facing a group of people that they can follow your behavior. So we're getting very pointed and specific with, I mean, what do you do? Honestly, if I told her she can't, so I have to find out from security what it is that they found and whether we have any footage so I can review the footage and see what I'm gonna do about it.
Well, today I was coming here, I parked over
Right.
here just now, and the regulars that were going to her class, that I go to her class too, and I wasn't informed that she was doing this, and she's like,
She's not
the
supposed to be doing.
regulars, I saw 4 regulars that I know leaving.
Well, I've had the thought that I'm gonna tell her she can't come to the resident pool, she has to go somewhere else, but honestly,
She will. Well, I was just wondering, because if she's back doing it, I would
She's
be there
not.
again. Okay.
she's not.
That's what I want to know.
With a mask.
If it was okay.
She's a stinker. She finds ways around everything. And if the class wasn't so popular, and she's my most popular water aerobics instructor,
Yes.
But she's got that smiley, cute little face, and she tries to find a way to do what she wants, and I'm constantly, putting up barriers and saying stop.
Anything else for operations?
The reason you
About
closed the
ready
pools
to
because
have,
it was that bad, huh? Those people, the pools that you had to close last week.
That's it.
Hi,
Have you got anything else?
yes.
Go ahead. So what Maureen brought up was the fact that I closed down Southampton and Camden pools. I sent the photograph and I let you all know that, I get it, somebody forgets to put on the mask or they move a chair the wrong way. But this was tearing through heavy duty plastic and lots of duct tape. We made sure that they got the message loud and clear. And you should looking at it, but I just cannot get over people. And so I took a lot of angry phone calls, and they want to know why I didn't deal with the individuals. And I said, well, I gave you a number to call to report non-compliance so security could get me the names of those individuals, and I will suspend them. Legal has said they will not tolerate any breaking of the rules, and they will issue an immediate suspension once I identify them. I said, have you been calling me? I said, because I don't have ESP and I don't know who these people are. So they have a new understanding that they need to call security and be willing to point them out and say, they're the perpetrator, and we'll get the information and then I'll start the suspension. But a lot of people say, what sign? I didn't see a sign, or I don't know there was a number to call, and they're not looking at the signs. I don't care how many I put up and where I place them. They're not looking.
They don't read. They don't read.
All right. I will say something about that. Not very aesthetic to be wrapping the fountains like an Egyptian mummy. I'm sure there's some place inaccessible to the unit owners where you can just turn the water off.
It's not on the outside.
They're going through that right now, because we've had so many ripping off. They gotta take the covers off, to remove the, Kevin knows that, so we'll be doing that.
It's not just a valve. I wish they could.
It's gotta take, it's in the inside of the unit, so. they'll be all right.
Bob,
Well, I can think of one solution for that. You guys are not permitting people to bring in any coolers. Let them bring in a cooler.
I have no issue with coolers.
I believe it said no coolers were allowed on the pool decks.
We've made so many signs, I'm gonna,
If you
Uh,
omit that,
because
let
we're in-
people bring coolers in with water
yeah.
or soda, no alcohol, then that'll solve that issue.
No,
It should.
no,
Well,
people
look.
will bring in alcohol. I disagree with that. They can bring a bottle of water, like I do, 1 or 2 bottles. They don't need a cooler. They
Okay,
don't.
so
Bring it in, they'll bring it in another container.
I like my water cold, so I would want a cooler so I could keep it cold to drink on the pool deck. I would have to check about the no
You
coolers.
did say no coolers.
It did say.
It did say no coolers.
So I will change that. I don't want them to have a party and everybody digging into the same cooler for stuff, you know, that again, is not sanitary at this time. But I also don't disallow alcohol, I never have. They're allowed to have alcohol in the party room and they're allowed to have alcohol at the pools.
Oh, they are?
But you know, the way I see that is, so the sun is setting and you get a couple of couples and they bring a bottle
No
of wine.
glass on the edge of the
They have
pool.
to, no glass,
Okay.
maybe a plate of cheese and crackers and they enjoy a glass or two.
Don't the signs
But-
say no alcohol?
Anybody,
Yeah, I thought they said.
That's what I thought. That's
It's
what
on
says
the
much
picture.
now.
You need to review your signs then,
I think.
because I believe it does say no alcohol also.
Yeah, that's what
Bob,
I'm
I
saying.
think they need no alcoholic beverages on the perimeter edge of the actual pool.
everything
have
has
to
to
be
be under the
explicit.
awning.
Under the awning,
And
it's
no glass
allowed.
containers.
But it doesn't say that.
Right. I think that was,
That needs to be made clear. I
Okay.
mean, I saw no alcohol, I assume no alcohol at the pools at all.
Right, well, we just had an issue where they had paper cups, at least they got that right, but they were sitting, they were in the pool. Paper cups. Listen, I get it all. They continue, I think I've been here with the company 33 years. They don't have the ability to surprise me.
believe
I had a
that.
guy, this was, Donald sent it,
I
a
believe
picture of a guy who picked up one of my faux rocks off of a pool deck, right? And he's got a tax company. And so, you know, he's holding up the faux rock, you know, and how his company rocks. So, but it's on Kent Pool. Picks up the faux rock and he's shirtless and he's holding it over his head and, you know, we rock.
All right. Is there anything else
Yes.
relevant to come before the operations committee?
I make a motion,
We
we
have a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn, and without further ado,
Thanks, everybody.
thank you very much.
Have a good day, everyone. Be safe.
Stay safe.
Oh, thank you, ladies, as always.
If you'll just leave your plastic bottles,
I was gonna
low
ask you-
notes to put them in recycling. We do recycle.
Do you want me to follow you home?
Okay,
Yes.
as far as getting you a list, I'm gonna give you a list of every single committee that I have. As up to date as I have it.
Small
Because it's more security so they know who to let in and who to say you have to
I've been
stay
giving
out.
them the shield, and I'm telling them, hang on to them.
They haven't let me know that. So, okay.
I'm gonna email you
Bob, you want any hand sanitizer before this?
What's that?
Hand sanitizer?
No, I'm good.
I'm good. I've been making sure you report the things I plug in so you can get everything. So, okay? All right.
I got it. Thanks, everybody.